Hello again. This time we'll discuss that stupid Pizza Hut commercial Gorbachev made. This is more of a shitpost, honestly, but I've been meaning to get to this, so here I am. This will probably be a lot more vulgar than what you normally expect of me, but I have a, let's say, severe distaste of Gorbachev, and that comes across quite easily. If you're wondering what my personal opinions of Gorbachev are, look at the beginning monologue on hate in the short story I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. If you're out of the loop, somehow, on who this vile human being is, Gorbachev was the last leader of the Soviet Union, the one personally responsible for the fuck-up after fuck-up during the policies post-1985, and the one who illegally dissolved the USSR against the democratic will of the Soviet people, plunging tens, if not hundreds of millions into severe, abject, humiliating poverty that the vast majority have yet to recover from 30 years later. Somehow, as some sick joke, he's still alive. We have a saying in Arabic, which goes kinda like, the devil doesn't destroy his own nest, and Gorbachev is the reinforced steel skeleton of that nest, if anything. Let's take a look at this soulless husk of a man selling out his great country for, what Americans tell me, is pretty shit pizza, apparently. Shall we? Look at this smug piece of shit. What the fuck are you so happy about? The incoming AIDS epidemic? You see this kid? Apparently that's his granddaughter, who spends her time as a socialite attending lavish parties, appearing in clothing and makeup commercials, and traveling to and from Europe for, I shit you not, more variety in fashion. That's a direct quote. End me.
Это Горбачев.
Горбачев.
Это из-за него у нас в экономике бардак.
You'll quickly see this old dude knows what's up. Economic confusion is beyond an understatement. At the time this commercial was being aired, every single public enterprise the Soviet people fought and bled for was being wholeheartedly sold off to private hands for literal pennies. Ridiculous rates, like 2% the actual worth of whatever enterprise, for example. Inflation, lack of practically all sorts of goods, a complete collapse of Russia's industrial base, and 100 other issues at the very time this was aired. The vast majority of former Soviet states have yet to reach pre-Soviet levels of development 30 years after the dissolution. Alright, fucking Zoomer over here has no clue what he's talking about. Opportunity for what? Eating rotten apples? Dying from fully preventable diseases because Soviet healthcare was privatized or completely dismantled? Mass unemployment? What possible opportunity could have come from the greatest geopolitical disaster in modern history?
Это из-за него у нас политическая нестабильность.
Spot on again, old guy. Yet again, though, a horrific understatement. There wasn't just political instability, there was total political collapse. Things were so bad for the new free and democratic establishment that the CIA had to rig Russian and practically all other post-Soviet countries' elections to prevent the Communist Party from coming back to power. This is aside from the messed up stuff Russian police started doing, along with mafia and oligarch thugs murdering people without even so much as a slap on the wrist. You know the dystopia that the Soviet Union was painted as in American textbooks and popular media, etc.? It actually did exist, but it was capitalist Russia in the 90s. Oh my lord, is this dude reading from the American propaganda NPC line handbook? The fuck is freedom? What is freedom when people are starving and unemployed, illiterate, sick, and with no future prospects? I'll tell you what freedom this dipshit's talking about. The ability for a handful of several hundred people to consolidate all the wealth the Soviet people built into their own hands. Look up Russian oligarchs if you doubt me. Almost every single wealthy person in Russia now, without fault, did it through the theft of Soviet state assets, favors, and money embezzlement.
Полный хаос.
My boy here knows what's up. Complete and utter chaos. You can shove that pizza up your ass, Gorby, at least then the grease will make it easier for the West to fuck you. Hope for what? It was the exact opposite. There was zero hope, and it was clear to literally everybody that lived then, for God's sake. Uncritical support for Chairman Old Dude, though. The guy's based.
Политическая нестабильность.
Да благодаря ему
У нас есть Pizza Hut.
La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Lady, you're old enough to have witnessed the Nazis destroy your country. What the fuck is Pizza Hut gonna do? You're gonna give up shashlik and sirniki for some crap overcooked American bastardization of pizza? You're right. Because of Gorbachev, we have women with master's degrees selling themselves on the street in order to feed their children. But at least we have fucking stuffed crust pizza with extra cheese. You can almost taste the tears of the orphans.
За Горбачева!
За Горбачева!
За Gorbachev! Sometimes nothing brings people together like a nice hot pizza from Pizza Hut.
And there it is, the fairy tale ending. If this actually happened, he would have been rightfully lynched, but no, we just get some babushka peasant pitifully looking up at the sky, waiting for death to mercifully take her. It's a shitty propaganda piece that's used to sell pizza, ironically though, not to Russians. Yes, the people who made this trash knew just how horrifically unpopular it would be in Russia, so it wasn't aired there. In fact, Russian polls consistently show that Gorbachev is absolutely despised, and rightfully so. A little less than a year after this ad was filmed, in August of 1998, the Russian financial system collapsed, completely bottomed out. This fictional family, and the douche talking about my freedoms, would have been exactly the demographic that were devastated, with unemployment skyrocketing yet again, with what few semblances of public programs completely gone, and triumphant misery for all. In merciful justice, however, the Pizza Hut location was shut down during that very same economic meltdown. Our boy Gorby, who was paid up to $1 million for this ad, possibly more even, lost all his own savings in that crash too. Thinking he'd still be the West's sweetheart after destroying his nation, he was sorely disappointed to find that they just brushed him aside, and even the Russian government at the time, although still treating him relatively well compared to the average Russian, practically didn't even acknowledge his existence. After he fell from grace, he went into semi-retirement in a shitty little apartment which flooded frequently from unserviced pipes and a crumbling ceiling that leaked from rain and snow. All the Russian government did for him was give him a maid to help him out. His entire family had moved to Germany. All these issues. If only there was a country with a system that provided all with their basic necessities. A country that would have guaranteed he wouldn't live in such miserable conditions. Oh wait, this waste of breath worked tirelessly to destroy that. And I say fuck him. He deserved worse. He deserves worse. The fact that he's still alive is a travesty. Not only was one of his last geopolitical decisions to greenlight the US invasion of my country, Iraq, but his actions left countless people's liberation movements and socialist governments in the cold, with no diplomatic, economic, or military support. His actions didn't just doom the Soviet people, but countless millions around the globe. Hold on though, you think this is it? He also did ads for the Austrian Federal Railway Service for some strange reason, as well as an ad for, yes, Louis Vuitton. Fuck you, Gorbachev. Fuck you. I look forward to your grave becoming a gender-neutral bathroom, you son of 16 generations of bastards. As we say in Iraq, طبك 16,000 مرض. And that's all for this time. Sorry, it was a little more of a meme, but I was feeling a little silly, so why not? I apologize for the excess cursing, but this angered me, as you may expect.